So PopularMMOs has been arrested again, but I think this time we're just being trolled. Alright, I've checked all of the news articles and stuff and all of that, but they've all dated to last year. Now the one that's more recent was given to us by exposing Minecraft YouTubers on Twitter, who says YouTuber PopularMMOs has been arrested again, almost a year after his first arrest, this time for assault with a deadly weapon and battery. He is currently on house arrest awaiting trial. Below is the police report and arrest record. And I found this because I was on Eleni's Twitter. And guess who Eleni is? She is known to make false accusations, so this is only gonna get better. And also she said, I am retweeting this as I was made aware, and she has nothing to do with it. So here there's a bunch of images of thing of Patrick Thomas Julianelle. Now you might think his name is actually Patrick Brown, and I'm pretty sure that's what his actual name is, but I think his legal name is Patrick Thomas Julianelle. So he is the defendant here in this case, and there is something wrong about this. In every single information article about PopularMMOs, his height's 5'8". It's never said 6'2", so this is also another factor in it being very sketchy. It says his weight's 220 to 240 and muscular, so this is all. It also says his voice was intoxicated and slurred, so he was on alcohol. He said so he was arrested for a different domestic violence incident, and I found out, I'm reading through a lot of it, he was arrested for a deadly weapon without intent to kill, which makes no sense. His description is medium knife. That's all they could find. There's no actual weapon they found, but the description is medium knife. And basically what happened was, picture Liz outside the house, and somehow Pat is outside the house, and they were just arguing. And then she comes outside, and then he is constantly like chasing her down. She goes back in, then comes back out, like, hey, you okay? And then she gets chased by a knife. It's slashed on the heel by the knife. And then he steps on her heel, and then she's somehow fast enough to still get away. And that's what also makes me confused. If he... right here. The victim had an observable injury on her ankle, which he stated was caused when the suspect chased her with the knife and stepped on her heel. 220 pounds. And what also doesn't make sense to me is they blocked out the incident, a location, and arrest location. And I understand contact home and mailing, but we have no idea what happened, where it happened. So that's also another error in this. It could mislead very well. So basically, Pat said that he made no contact with the suspect, or Liz, who stated at no point in time did he touch the victim. So he did not touch the victim. That's what he says. But then she, basically like Amber Heard, basically said that he did all of this, his hitting battery, like literally barrage, and verbal, and which there was only verbal, cut on the heel and stepped on the heel, and the victim they found the victim did have an injury on the ankle, but there was also blood. I'm pretty sure she probably tripped on the rock or something, and then blamed it on a knife. But they were also drunk at this time, so I think only Pat was drunk. Also, I don't know what they were doing about the chart under here, if his domestic violence or is it domestic violence. They said no to all of those, but it is a form of domestic violence, so it has to be one of them, right? It can't be none. So this is the story. What I was talking about was like a summary, but this is the whole story. So, upon arriving, I made contact with Elizabeth Hranek, who advised she was battered by Pat. The victim stated she went to Main Event, which is a Phillips Highway, with her boyfriend Pat, the suspect Patrick Juvenile, for drinks and games. The victim, Elizabeth, suspected, currently living together. It's been dating for over a year. Liz advised the suspect got too drunk at Main Event and she wanted to go home. Liz advised they decided to leave Main Event, and while driving home, the Pat began punching her in her right arm while she was driving. I did not observe injuries on the victim's right arm. See, she's lying. Liz stated a heated verbal argument ensued while they drove back to Commissioner's Drive. Liz advised when they returned, the suspect, Pat, fell asleep outside of the residence due to his intoxication from the alcohol, and she locked all the doors to the residence in fear of him coming inside to hurt her. What? Okay. Liz advised the suspect eventually awoke and was holding a knife while standing outside of the residence. Liz stated the suspect said he slashed the tires to their vehicles and wanted to come back inside. Then came outside of the residence. She came back outside the residence because she believed the suspect had calmed down. Liz stated the suspect then began to chase her with the knife, screaming obscenities. Liz advised she began running around the outside of the residence and down the street of the neighborhood, screaming for help while being in fear for her life. The victim stated suspect eventually caught up to her and stepped on the back of her heel. I observed a cut on Liz's left heel, which was still bleeding upon my arrival. The victim stated she fell when the suspect stepped on her heel, and then she got up and ran really fast to get away from the suspect. The victim advised she then ran further down the road and found a security guard in the community and waited for police. The victim stated she did not touch the suspect at any point during the altercation. Liz described the knife as a medium knife, but didn't know any further descriptors. This is so baloney. It's just like Amber Heard saying, my dog stepped on a bee. There's so many things wrong with this. Why would Pat, like a scary serial killer, standing outside the door with a knife, just, let me in, and slashing the tires like some kind of horror story? This is a whole bunch of baloney. But hey, do you believe it? This is no one knows the real side of this. There was no witnesses. It was just the victim and the suspect. So, do you believe it? It's up to you. But let's hope that this case is settled and there is no arresting.